A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Primetime News coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening. Colombo Kandy main road closed further at Lower Kaduganawa. Special transport for A-level students. 9 killed in disasters triggered by heavy rains. Kaluging and Aktanagaloya at minor flood level. Avoid sailing in Bay of Bengal. Met Department warns fishermen. Subject to responsibility for UNPSJB unity, says MP Jagat. Bus fare payments via bank cards from tomorrow. And now the stories in detail. The Lower Kaduganawa section of the Kandy-Colombo main road has been closed until further notice. This is following the rockfall that occurred yesterday morning, which claimed the lives of 6 people.
Several boulders had collapsed onto a house and a shop in the Hingula Galethana area of Lower Kaduganawa along the Colombo-Kandy main road yesterday morning. The incident, a group of customers, employees of the shop and residents who were inside the house were buried under the boulders. Following a rescue operation lasting approximately 11 hours, the people buried under the boulders were found. 6 people lost their lives in the incident. 4 people who were rescued are currently receiving treatment at the Mavanala Base Hospital. 4 people who were rescued at the Mavanala Base Hospital. Police investigations have revealed that at the time of the rockfall, 10 people were in the vicinity of the area affected, including 7 who had come to the shop. The owner of the shop, Punandavale Raghunathan Sasidaran, survived as he was outside the shop when the incident occurred. However, his 66-year-old father, Rasalingam Karunakaran, and his 39-year-old wife, Nishantini Karunakaran, lost their lives in the disaster. His mother, who suffered injuries, is receiving treatment at the Mavanala Hospital. The other deceased individuals are Lairu Madhushanka Samrakon, aged 31, from Galnamuna Valigalla Road; Linton Janaka Kumara Jaisingha, aged 60 years, from Balavatagama Kaduganawa; Ruan Kumara Abesiri Samaranayaka, aged 43 years old, from Navanagara, Amilipitia; Gunratna Mudyansalage Pulasti Bandara, aged 33, from Hinarandenia, Gampola. Meanwhile, a decision has been reached to provide 100,000 rupees for the funeral expenses of those who passed away. The bodies of the deceased were handed over to their relatives this afternoon following the post-mortem examination being conducted at the Kegol General Hospital. The injured who are currently receiving treatment at the Mavanala Base Hospital include an employee of the shop who is a resident of Motapala named Nigahagedara Sampath Bandara Jayaratna, who is 44 years old; Lairu Ramesh Ratnayaka, aged 33, from Amir Nigama Pilimathalawa; Ruchira Thilan Munasingha from Pilimathalawa; and Chantrika Nishanti, aged 56, from Haliyadda Danture. Meanwhile, all people from the shops and houses located around the site of the rockfall have been evacuated. By this morning, a small stream of water could be seen flowing through the debris at the site of the rockfall. The National Building Research Organization, or the NBRO, suspects that the rock's fragments in the area may slide down further. This location had been designated as a medium-risk landslide zone even before the accident occurred. Considering the dangerous situation arising from this incident, in May 2015, the site where the shop and the house buried looked like this. By September September 2021. The shop and house have been constructed as shown in these images.
There are still some rock fragments on the hill above the collapsed area, and they have been reported to be in a very unstable condition. Accordingly, we intend to first demolish and remove those rock fragments. We have deployed teams to carry out the initial work. There is a great risk given the current weather. Due to the current weather, it is difficult for us to manage it because the work of breaking the rocks is difficult with the rain.
The lower Kadugannava section of the Kandy-Colombo main road has been closed until further notice. Deputy Minister of Transport and Highways, Dr. Prasanna Gunasena, stated that the road closure was initiated until a situation report is provided by the NBRO. Furthermore, steps have been taken to impose restrictions on the trains plying along the hill above the landslide site.
Trains operating with restrictions imposed. The relevant officials are observing the area and imposing speed limits because when a train goes through there is a vibration. Considering the possibility of instability due to the vibration, we are restricting the operating speed. Trains are currently operating under speed restrictions.
What should be done to prevent such an accident from happening again?
The slope on both sides of this road coming up from Hingula, Kadugannava, especially the left side of the road when coming from Colombo, must be subjected to very careful observation by geologists and engineers. After assuming this, it is possible to identify rock masses settled in various places on the slope, and proper attention should be paid to their stability. An assessment must be made as to whether there is a risk of them sliding down. Otherwise, we can expect to see similar incidents in the future.
Meanwhile, a section of the main road has given away near the tunnel, about 1 kilometer from the site of the rock slide towards Kandy. The NBRO suspects that a cavity had formed underneath this section of the road.
One side of the road, the section towards the slope, has already partially broken away, and there are some cracks further in, so there is a great risk.
Due to the temporary closure of the road, a special program has been implemented to facilitate students, teachers and the staff of the advanced level examination currently underway to reach their respective examination centers.
There is a group who can travel by train, going to Rambukana and then taking the train to Kandy from the stations around Upper Kotte. Also, for those who intend to travel via alternative routes using private vehicles, they should proceed to the exam centers via those routes. Moreover, for children who have no way of travel, especially those relying on public transport and unable to use either alternative routes or the train, we will give them the opportunity to sit the A-level examination at a school in an area closest to them. Only students who absolutely cannot travel should attend the nearest examination center. We request all children, parents, teachers and all parties involved in the examination to remember these telephone numbers: 011 366 011 366 8119, 011 366 8026, 011 366 8032, 011 366 8087 and 117. All relief officers of the National Disaster Relief Services are continuously prepared to face any situation that may arise in the future.
The Disaster Management Centre reports that the death toll from the ongoing adverse weather has risen to 9. Meanwhile, the Department of Meteorology says heavy rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters is likely in the western, Sabarkamur, northwestern, northern and southern provinces as well as in the Kandy and Nuwara districts today. Other areas may also experience showers of around 75 millimeters.
Heavy rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters is expected today in the western, Sabargamur, northwestern, southern and northern provinces, as well as in the Kandy and Nuwara districts. Meanwhile, other districts are likely to experience moderate to heavy showers of around 75 millimeters.
Minor flood levels has been reported along 3 major rivers following the recent heavy rainfall. According to the Department of Irrigation, Kaluganga in Millakanda, Ginganga in Baddegama and the Nilwala Ganga in Panadugama have reached minor flood levels. Meanwhile, the Maguru Ganga, a tributary of the Kaluganga in Magura, Deduroya in Morgaswava and Yatnagaloya in Dunamale are experiencing rising water levels. Residents in these areas have been advised to remain vigilant. The National Building Research Organisation says that the landslide warnings issued for 10 districts still remain in effect. Landslide warnings have been issued for multiple divisional secretariat divisions across the Colombo, Kalutara, Gaul, Kandy, Kegol, Matara, Ratnapura, Badulla. of Meteorology has urged fishermen to avoid sailing in the southeastern Bay of Bengal until further notice. Those already at sea in the area are advised to return to shore immediately.
දිවෙන වටාවන මුහුදු තීරය පිළිබඳව අවධානය යොමු කරද්දී සුළං ඊසාන දෙසින් හම ඒවි සුළඟේ
Winds around the island are expected to come from the northeast at speeds of 20 to 30 kilometers an hour. However, in the coastal areas from Trincomalee through Kankasantore to Mannar and Putlam, winds may reach up to 40 kilometers an hour, making the seas moderately rough. Other sea areas are expected to remain normal.
රළු වීමේ හැකියාවක් පවතිනවා. සෙසු මුහුදු ප්‍රදේශ සාමාන්‍ය ස්වභාවයේ පවතීවි.
In the past 24 hours that ended at 8:30 am this morning, the highest rainfall on the island was recorded at Atharagalla in Kurunagala, measuring 196.5 millimeters. Other significant rainfall recorded 176 millimeters in Mediava, 133.6 millimeters in Thabova and 127.5 millimeters at Madolthana Estate. Over the past 24 hours, 20 reservoirs across the country have reached a spill level due to persistent heavy rainfall. According to HMPST Herat, Director of the Water Management Unit at the Department of Irrigation, 11 major reservoirs, including the Daduroya, are at spill level. At the Porgola Dam, 3 spill gates were opened early this morning, releasing 4,500 cubic feet of water per second into the Victoria Reservoir. Similarly, 4 spill gates at the Rajangane Reservoir are open, releasing 2,144 cubic feet per second into the Kalaoya. All 8 spill gates of the Daduroya Reservoir have also been opened due to heavy rainfall, releasing 22,250 cubic feet per second downstream and designating the area as a high-risk zone. The Atharagalla Reservoir in Kurunagala, which recorded the highest rainfall yesterday, is now overflowing. In the Kurunagala district, heavy rains in and around Ambampula have forced the opening of both spill gates of the Ambampula-Ambakola Reservoir, submerging roads and disrupting traffic. Rising water levels in the Ging River have flooded several road sections between Baddegama and Nagoda. The Baddegama-Bodangoda Ganegama route is also underwater, causing significant disruptions to the flow of traffic. Small streams that overflowed due to heavy showers have submerged low-lying areas in Bulat Sinhala, halting traffic along the Bulat Sinhala-Molkava main road. The military is assisting residents using boats to safely move people across flooded areas. Overflow from the Nilwala River and Kirima-Ara Oya has also blocked multiple roads. In Bandaravela, a wall collapsed onto a person near the Kumbalwala Andikala Community Hall. He has been hospitalized.
Newsfirst with the people.
The opposition's move to oppose the government's budget measure to provide a daily attendance incentive of 200 rupees has drawn strong displeasure from the estate workers. Due to this reason, the estate workers organized protest today as well, expressing their objection to the opposition.
A protest was organized today in the Pusallava town. The protesters marched into the center of the town. They were protesting against the opposition's action of opposing the government's budget measure to provide them with a daily attendance incentive of 200 rupees.
අපි ජනාධිපතිවරුමාට අපි විශේෂයෙන් ස්තුති වන්දනා කරනවා. අය දන්නවද? අපිට පඩි වැඩි කරලා දෙනවා. අපි කොච්චර බෙස්සෙත් එක්ක හවුවත් එක්ක කූණ්ඩෙල්ත් එක්ක ෆයිට් කරලා මේ දවස පඩිය ගන්න කියලා අපට විතරයි දන්නවා. අපිට මේ පඩිය වැඩි කරලා දීපුවට අපිට ගොඩාක් සතුටුයි. මිනිස්සු හරියට සතුටු වෙන මෙච්චර දවස් අපිට අපි මේ පාලට අවිලා බෑලා තමයි මේ උද්ඝෝෂණය කරලා තියෙන්නේ. මේ සැරේ අපිට වාම මේ පඩි ටික වැඩි කරලා දුන්නට අපිට බොහොම ස්තුතියි.
Gaining power and breaking promises, or to put it briefly, betraying the people's trust, has been a common occurrence in Sri Lankan politics over the past few decades. Do the people of our country accept that kind of politics today, where politicians use the power given to them by the people to exploit the very people who gave them that power?
The endless cycle of seizing power, shattering promises, and in a single brutal phrase, betraying the nation's trust, has been the sickening norm in Sri Lanka's politics for the past few decades. Politicians are vested with power to work solely for the public good. That power should always serve the welfare of the people, securing their freedom, driving development, and safeguarding the future. It should be used to raise up the standard of living of our own people, the fragile, the poor, the economically devastated, and the socially broken. It should be used to forge a future for the children and youth of our nation. Yet, not just here, but across the globe, we see political cabals and power brokers who have brutally wielded that authority to torment the masses. No matter the country or the region, one devastating truth remains universal. Countries crushed under the boot of these corrupt factions wither into poverty, while the vultures and their cronies who surround them grow obscenely wealthy. The African continent serves as the most striking example. These nations possess unlimited resources, both natural wealth and human capital. Yet the people live in absolute destitution, while the politically powerful are staggeringly rich. We know this same shadow has fallen upon our own country, where thuggery and criminal underworld have become the unholy pillars of power. Though separated by continents, the common factor is the same. Corrupt politicians and the brutal underworld force they activate and weaponize for their own greed. The president recently voiced this chilling, bitter truth.
අපේ රටේ නොවිසඳුණු හැම අපරාධයක් පිටිපස්සෙම දේශපාලන ආරක්ෂාව තියෙනවා. ලසන්තේ ඝාතනي, තාජුදීන්ගේ
Remember this. Every unresolved crime in our country has had political protection behind it. Why have the murders of Lasanta and Tajuddin or the assaults on journalists never been solved? Not because of police incompetence, but because of political protection. If we empower our police and relevant authorities, these crimes can be crushed. They can be defeated. But who denied them that power? The political authority. I say this not out of any political bias or party division, but because of the gravity of this tragedy. The underworld drug network grew under political protection. That's a fact. Even today, some major crimes are being operated from within prisons, broadcast live on Facebook. Take the recent Valigama incident. It was streamed live right as it happened. How did state-owned firearms end up in the hands of criminals? Reports confirm that 73 T-56 rifles from several military camps have been taken by these groups. Of them, around 35 have already been recovered, along with the required ammunition. A senior army colonel has been arrested for supplying the weapons, and money has been traced to his bank accounts. At the Department of Motor Traffic and the RMV, vehicle number plates have been issued without vehicles. At the Department of Immigration and Emigration, some officers have issued passports for underworld leaders. These operations reveal a parallel black state, created to serve the interests of criminals. This issue has even infiltrated political parties. Some criminals are now becoming MPs and chairmen. Reports have reached us that some are preparing separate candidate lists for upcoming elections. We are now at a decisive hour to end this.
මතකති සමහර අය වෙනම ලැයිස්තුවල ඡන්දවට ඉල්ලන්න හදනවා. දැන් අපි මේ අවසන් කිරීමේ තීරණාත්මක හෝරාවට ආයිත්.
A democracy demands a powerful opposition, but the history, the very DNA of that opposition is paramount. Does our nation truly want, as its opposition, parties and politicians who are heavily marred by allegations of a blood-soaked alliance with the underworld? How much damage do such parties inflict upon democracy itself? Let's examine one recent incident that ripped open the curtain on the nexus between political parties and the underworld. Remember Sampath Manamperi and Piyal Manamperi? These two brothers are active local politicians of the Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna. It was not us but the police who confirmed that Sampath Manamperi once served as a VIP security officer and was even attached to the security detail of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. During that tenure, he was accused in multiple cases of abductions and murders. The discovery of a massive cache of ice narcotics buried on land allegedly linked to Manamperi sent shockwaves through the country. The murder of Mideniye Kadja and his two small children, a tragedy that horrified the nation, was pinned on Bako Saman and Tambili Lahiru. Investigative teams revealed that Bako Saman was, for a time, a driver in a bus owned by Sampath Manamperi. That is the chilling depth of the blood-soaked nexus between this political network and the underworld. Days before he died, Mideniye Kadja had even publicly named who would be responsible if he were killed. This is merely one snapshot. Time prevents us from revealing more, but the facts are limitless. The bottom line is this: the people have already expelled this old, bankrupt politics, a system defined by extreme corruption and underworld ties, and they have done so with profound disgust. That politics is now utterly finished. The last general election forced some political parties to their knees, scoring 0 seats. Others were reduced to a handful, leaving their leaders scrambling to cling to power through nationalist seats in parliament. The people of this country, who are now thinking and building anew, demand an intelligent, disciplined and forward-looking opposition. Yet we recently witnessed the shameful spectacle of innocent people being herded onto buses to Colombo, given alcohol, and then in some cases reported on social media, abandoned and stranded on the road instead of being taken home. The politics of corrosive hatred and rage that devoured this beautiful nation for decades has been violently rejected by the people of our country and the Sri Lankan diaspora worldwide. This political culture has been cast out like a piece of filth. If these politicians still believe that this country is merely their family inheritance, that the people are ready to swallow every lie, and that the people will dance to every arrogant tune they play, let them be warned that it is time for these politicians to bring themselves out of those arrogant, self-serving fever dreams.
A special discussion was held in Colombo today regarding the appointment of new electoral organisers for the Samakijana Balawegya and the party's future political programme. The meeting was chaired by party leader Sajid Premadasa.
Several party activists, including members of parliament representing the Samagijana Balawegya, participated in this discussion.
We expressed our views. Then finally the leader said that he stands by the position that the United National Party and our party should unite. He also said that he would take responsibility for it. All of us were very pleased with that and expressed our happiness. He took that responsibility. I feel that we can move forward with a new approach.
ජාතික පක්ෂයකට ඒක තුල ගමන යනවා කියලා කිව්වා. එතකොට මෙච්චර කාලයක් තිබ්බ එතකොට සාකච්ඡාවල ප්‍රතිඵලයක් තිබිරද මොකක්ද අතරම විශේෂත්වය මොකක්ද? නෑ විශේෂත්වය එතුමා දැන්
The significance is that at a certain point during his speech he humbly stated that a mistake had been made by him. So I think that mistake must refer to the previous failure to unite. Now starting today something has been added that allows us to think anew. The leader publicly declared this to us. We gave our unanimous approval with great enthusiasm.
පොදු විපක්ෂය. කොහෙද එතකොට වැරදිච්ච දැන අපේ
ඒකද මම අහන්න ගියේ නෑ
නෑනේ. හරි අපි ඉතින් එකතු නොමීම වරදක් කියලා අපි ඔක්කොම තේරෙනවා දැන් මේ වෙනකොට. නායකතුමා විශේෂයෙන්ම කිව්වා එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයත් එක්ක එක්ව වෙන වගකීම එතුමා බාර ගන්නවා. ඉතා ඉක්මනින් ඒ කටයුතු කරනවා. ඒක නායකත්වය කොහොමද ඒක අනවශ්‍ය ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න ඕනේ නෑ. ඒක අපි ඉස්සරහට දින්නේ.
අපි කරන්නේ අපේ
We will carry out our work while protecting our political identity and our policies. The group with the Samagijana Balawege will not compromise on their policies for the sake of power. Therefore, we will do our job.
අපි අපේ කාර්යය කරනවා.
Biz Fast. For the first time in the country, passengers will be able to pay bus fares using bank cards starting tomorrow.
The program is being implemented by the Ministry of Transport and Highways with technical consultancy from the Ministry of Digital Economy. Advisor to the Ministry of Digital Economy, Sumudhu Ratnayaka said that buses plying along nearly 20 bus routes will accept bank card payments in the first phase. These routes include Makumbura to Gaul, Mathura and Badulla, Colombo to Ampara, Kadawatha to Barella, Monaragala to Bibile, Badulla to Bandaravela and Badulla to Mahiyanganaya. Sumudhu Ratnayaka added that under the first phase, this payment option will be available only for private buses. So far, 7 private and state banks have expressed their willingness to support the program to enable the payment of bus fares through bank cards.
A truly breathtaking vista, St. Clair Falls, nestled in Thalawakele, remains an unforgettable highlight and a powerful symbol of nature's artistry in the heart of our hill country. This is beautiful Sri Lanka.
Nestled in the lush landscapes of Thalawakele, St. Clair Falls cascades gracefully in multiple tiers, creating a mesmerizing spectacle of nature. Easily visible from the Norelia Road and the specially constructed viewing point by the Upper Kutmale Hydropower Project, this waterfall captivates every visitor. Located at an altitude of 1076 meters above sea level, St. Clair Falls is a true gem of natural beauty where the harmony of flowing waters and beautiful surroundings leaves a lasting impression.
Beautiful Sri Lanka.
Over 2 million tourists have arrived in Sri Lanka so far this year, marking a notable rise compared to 2024. Among the many attractions they visit, Sigiri remains one of the most popular and iconic destinations for travellers exploring the island's natural and historical beauty.
Located in the Mandalay district of the Central Province, the World Heritage Site of Sigiriya remains a major stopover for tourists visiting Sri Lanka. Its appeal goes beyond the uniqueness of the Sigiriya rock itself. In recent years, a variety of new activities that have been introduced in Sigiriya and the surrounding areas have also contributed in attracting more tourists. These tourists particularly enjoy activities such as bullock cart safaris, elephant safaris, canoe rides and tractor safaris. For many city dwellers, these activities also offer a chance to relax and immerse themselves in the beauty of village life. People in the tourism industry around Sigiriya are striving to provide visitors with memorable experiences.
මේ පැත්තේ එයාලට දෙන්න පුළුවන් උපරිම සහාය අපේ ලංකාවේ අපි දෙන්න ඕනේ.
දිනාමලුව හන්දින්දලා මෙතන මේක සීගිරියට අපි ඇතුල් වෙන්නේ කියන හැඟීම ඇති කරන විදිහට මේක ලස්සන කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් සංචාරකයන්ට මේ අපි එන්නේ ලෝක උරුමයට ලංකාවේ කියන එක අඟවන විදිහට වැඩක් කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් මේක ලයිට් ටිකක් දාලා පාරවල් පුළුල් කරලා මොනවා හරි සුද්ධ ඇවිදින අතුරු පාරවල් වල ආලි තර්ජන වලට මොනවා හරි විකල්පයක් යොදලා සහ වැසිකිලි පහසුකම් වගේ පහසුකම් සකස් කරන්න ඉතින් වටිනවා.
Tourists visiting Sigiriya shared their experiences, praising both its beauty and the warm hospitality they received.
Hello, I'm Abir from France. We came yesterday. We arrived to Sri Lanka and we are already enjoying our trip, and we are satisfied with the kindness of people here. People here are very congenial, and we are also surprised by the beauty of nature. So I would advise everyone to come to Sri Lanka to explore paradise on earth. Thank you.
Oui, bonjour, on est arrivé de France hier, on a été conseillé par des amis pour venir visiter le Sri Lanka et depuis notre arrivée, là, ça fait seulement 2 jours qu'on est là, on a été surpris par la bonté des gens, leur hospitalité et le sourire permanent et là on a encore une semaine à passer ici et je suis sûr qu'on aura plein de belles surprises. On adore le Sri Lanka et je vous encourage à venir visiter ce pays magnifique. Merci.
It is the opinion of many in the tourism sector that Sigiriya's timeless charm holds untapped potential to draw even more visitors, turning its beauty into a gateway for boosting the nation's foreign earnings.
The war on drugs. For our children, for our tomorrow.
Authorities have arrested a suspect in the Mihichaya 7 area of Madampitia after discovering 1 kilogram and 300 milligrams of ice in his possession.
The raid was conducted based on information received by the Divisional Intelligence Unit. The suspect taken into custody is a 28-year-old resident of Madampitia. Madampitia police has launched further investigations into the incident.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism Vijita Herat says Sri Lanka is prepared to work with China under a framework that ensures clear benefits for the Sri Lankan people. He made these remarks at the briefing on the 4th plenary session of the 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China.
Briefing on the 4th plenary session of the 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China was held in Colombo under the theme China's New Development, New Opportunity for the World.
As we work to stabilize our economy and create fair opportunities for our people, we look at every partnership practically. Our goal is simple: cooperation that brings real benefits to our citizens and supports sustainable long-term growth. Sri Lanka and China have a long friendship. As we take this relationship forward, our priority is to ensure that cooperation helps our industries, creates jobs, develops skills, and strengthens our economy without adding burdens or obligations. We live in a time of global uncertainty. In such an environment, balanced and respectful partnerships are essential. Sri Lanka is ready to work with China in that spirit on the basis of equality, mutual respect, and clear benefit to our people.
The event was attended by Chinese Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Ki Seng Hong, and brought together diplomats, officials and representatives from various sectors.
Sri Lanka Army troops that participated in the 11th edition of the Sri Lanka-India bilateral military exercise Mitra Shakti returned to the island yesterday.
The Sri Lanka military contingent that participated in the 11th edition of the Sri Lanka-India bilateral military exercise Mitra Shakti returned to the country after successfully completing the program conducted in Karnataka, India. The contingent comprised 125 Sri Lanka Army personnel and 10 Sri Lanka Air Force personnel. The returning troops arrived at the Matala Rajapaksa International Airport. The exercise provided an effective platform for enhancing military cooperation, cultural understanding and camaraderie between the two armies.
Today marks the 3rd day of the Aqua Planet 2025 Sri Lanka, showcasing the country's fisheries, aquaculture and ornamental fish industries, along with investment and innovation opportunities in the aquatic sector.
Aquaplanet 2025 Sri Lanka concluded today, marking the final day of the 3-day exhibition held from the 21st to the 23rd of November. The expo brought together global fisheries professionals, researchers, entrepreneurs and enthusiasts to showcase Sri Lanka's rich aquatic resources. The event has highlighted key innovations and developments in fisheries, aquaculture and the ornamental fish industry, with a strong focus on sustainability, trade and education. Aquaplant 2025 featured 2 main sections: the ornamental fish segment led by the Aquacultural Development Authority and and the broader fisheries industry section managed by the Department of Fisheries. Running alongside the exhibition, an international workshop organized by the Bay of Bengal Program Intergovernmental Organization also took place, along with dedicated sessions to promote investment opportunities for both local and foreign investors. Maharaja Media Network is the official media partner of the event.
Lanka, Spine Stars, directed, written and produced by award-winning filmmaker Vimukti Jayasundara, made its South Asian premiere at the International Film Festival of India held yesterday in Goa.
The South Asian premiere of the science fiction film Lanka or Spine Stars was held yesterday at the International Film Festival of India, one of the world's leading A-grade film festivals. The film is written and directed by Vimukti Jayasundara and produced by Nila Madhab Panda alongside Jayasundara. Naomi Apsara and Anuj Tyagi serve as the executive producers of the film. The cast features Indira Tiwari, Hidayat Hasir, Soumya Lianage, Kaushalya Fernando, Samunali Fonseca and Sri Rupa Mishra. Lanka or Spine Stars, a French-India-Sri Lanka co-production, previously had its world premiere at the Busan International Film Festival in South Korea. The Sri Lankan delegation attending International Film Festival of India included Vimukti Jayasundara, Naomi Apsara and Soumya Lianage. The film is scheduled for release in Sri Lanka in March 2026.
Moving on to news overseas, the Group of 20 summit in South Africa has adopted its final declaration outlining commitments to ease the burden on developing nations and support the settlement of global armed conflicts. The summit, held for the first time on the African continent, brought together leaders and top officials from major economies despite a boycott by the United States.
World leaders attending a G20 summit in South Africa on Saturday adopted a declaration addressing global challenges despite opposition from the United States. The final document of the Group of 20 summit says the organization will work towards the settlement of armed conflicts and lighten the burden of the developing nations in the world. The adopted summit declaration said the organization will work for a comprehensive and lasting peace in Sudan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the occupied Palestinian territory and Ukraine. The declaration also placed pointed emphasis on the seriousness of climate change. It stressed that large-scale disasters are hitting vulnerable communities hardest, deepening poverty and inequality, while high debt continues to hinder growth in developing nations. Opening the summit, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa said the country aims to uphold the G20's global stature while ensuring the priorities of the global South and Africa are firmly reflected in its agenda.
We should not allow anything to diminish the value, the stature and the impact of the first African G20 presidency. This G20 Leader Summit has a responsibility not to allow the integrity and the credibility of the G20 to be weakened.
The US, which is boycotting the summit, had demanded that no declaration be made. Ramaphosa flatly rejected that. Trump ordered his country to boycott the summit over his claims that South Africa is pursuing racist anti-white policies and persecuting its Afrikaner white minority.
US President Donald Trump has said that Ukraine's leaders have shown zero gratitude over US efforts to end the war. Minutes before Ukraine's President Zelensky said there is an understanding that the US proposed peace plan could take into account Ukraine's national interests.
It comes as talks continue in Geneva between delegations from the US, Ukraine and its European allies. In a post on his Truth Social platform, Trump wrote, "Ukraine leadership has expressed zero gratitude for our efforts and Europe continues to buy oil from Russia." Trump also wrote, "I inherited a war that should have never happened, a war that is a loser for everyone, especially the millions of people that have so needlessly died." Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that there is now an understanding that the US proposed peace plan may take into account a number of elements that are based on the Ukrainian vision and are critical to Ukraine's national interests. The US delegation are tight-lipped following Trump's message. European leaders have criticized the 28-point plan, which is widely considered favorable to Russia.
Moving on to sports news now. The final game of the 2025 Asia Cup Rising Stars tournament is currently underway in Doha. After more than 2 weeks of exciting competition, the game features Pakistan Shaheens and Bangladesh A teams. In the final showdown, Bangladesh won the toss and opted to field first against Pakistan Shaheens. Pakistan, batting first, are currently batting.
Eight teams participated in the preliminary round matches in two groups, A and B. India A and Pakistan A entered the semi-finals from Group A, while Sri Lanka A and Bangladesh A entered the semi-finals from Group B. Bangladesh defeated India A and Pakistan A defeated Sri Lanka A to book their places in the final. You can catch all the action of the 2025 Asia Cup Rising Stars final between Bangladesh A and Pakistan Shaheens live on TV1 and online via www.sirasatv.lk.
The fourth match of T21 Tri-Nation Series is currently underway in Rawalpindi between Zimbabwe and Pakistan. Pakistan, winning the toss, opted to bat first. Pakistan managed to score 195 runs for the loss of 5 wickets at the end of their allotted overs. In reply innings, Zimbabwe is currently at 107 runs for the fall of 9 wickets at the end of 16.5 overs. Moving on, the India national blind cricket team has made history winning the first ever Women's T20 World Cup for the visually impaired.
The first ever Women's T20 World Cup for the visually impaired was played today at the Sirasa Oval Stadium in Colombo. The tournament was co-hosted by India and Sri Lanka. The final showdown was between India and Nepal. Batting first, Nepal posted a competitive total of 114 runs for the loss of 5 wickets. Chasing a target of 115 runs, the Indian team delivered a dominant performance, reaching the score in just 12.1 overs with only 3 wickets down. The tournament was attended by Sri Lanka's Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya as the chief guest. Making remarks after the match, Prime Minister highlighted Sri Lanka's pride in hosting a tournament that underscores equality, universal access and the inspiring power of athletes who break barriers and promote true inclusivity in sport.
This event marks a truly important moment for women's sport, for disability inclusion and for the broader development of cricket. Sri Lanka is really honored to host the finals of this significant tournament in this very historical ground where, as you heard before, Sir Donald Bradman also played. So you are in a very special place, and we are so proud and so privileged to be able to co-host this event. This World Cup is more than just a competition. It is a collective statement about access, equity, and the growing participation of women in sport. It reinforces the principle that sport belongs to everyone, women, persons with disabilities, and everyone who dreams of contributing to the world of sports. Inclusion must remain central to how we design our national and regional sporting futures. And these kinds of events truly make it possible for us to show that inclusivity in sports, in every sense of the word, is truly possible. The athletes competing here remind us that vision is not limited to what the eyes perceive. It is also defined by purpose, discipline, and the will to overcome barriers. Your example inspires not just Sri Lanka, India, or any of the other countries represented here, but communities across the world striving for dignity, respect, and opportunity.
Nepal finished as runners-up while India claimed the championship, lifting the historic inaugural trophy.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.